Hi, I'm here with Khalid, and today we're going to reverse the situation. I'm going to be interviewed, and I'm going to turn it over to Khalid. So go ahead.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you for accepting my request to be interviewed. And today I would like to ask you some questions about education.
Okay.
And we will approach it from a bit of a philosophical and political point of view.
Right.
And so we'll look at some things people take for granted as basics, and we'll make them look strange.
Okay.
As a philosophical approach of reflecting on some of these concepts.
Great.
So if you could tell me what is the traditional or typical American way of looking at education? What does education mean for a typical American?
Right. Well, full disclosure, we did discuss this a little bit before, so I'm sticking with the same basic idea that there's been an arc. Okay, so I think in the last 30 to 40 years, there was a big push to develop scientists and engineers and people skilled in mathematics, and to take the highest, the cream of the crop, the upper 10 and 20% of the high school graduates, and get them into pristine, the best colleges, and give them an education that enables them to become leaders and also to execute, very difficult tasks, such as putting a man on the moon. And a lot of that was motivated by a political desire to win the space race. And then in 1989, I think, things shifted. So we kind of defeated our enemy, and the global landscape took on a different shape. And I don't know, the U.S. is struggling to find a role for itself in this new world, and educators are struggling to find a role too.
So this is good. So would you say then, and given what you have said, we can define education through the American lens as the preparation of citizens to achieve nationally determined goals?
Right, except that it's not nationally determined in the same way that China determines goals, or or probably even Russia still today.
But who determines those goals?
Well, it's a social momentum. Okay. It's a vision of themselves. I think I mentioned that the United States has a set of ideas that they want to see win out.
Where do those ideas come from?
The Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
To some extent, a Christian heritage.
Okay.
The urge to do good in the world. A lot of people mention the famous phrase, the French author, name escapes me right now, but America is great because it is good.
Okay.
And we want to keep those together. And we don't want to oppress people and force people. The Statue of Liberty is liberty. I think the official title is Liberty Enlightening the World. I mean, the famous painting of it is Liberty Enlightening the World. So it's not just a casual saying that, okay, we'll have a country that's a little different. No, we're going to change the way the whole world works. And
so there's an extension to the world beyond the United States.
Oh yeah, sure.
And how is that extension is being explored, or at least maybe incorporated into the education system in the U.S.?
Well, right now, it's through deep questioning of the whole idea of it. So people are saying, no, we shouldn't do it. Okay? And it's always good to question your direction and your purpose.
Okay.
That part is good. I don't agree that we should just throw it overboard and become, as Obama indicated, just another country. Greece thinks it's a great country, and so does Iran. They think they're great countries. Yeah, we're the same. And it's not really nationalism. People think that it's nationalism. It's not. being an American is just adherence to a certain set of ideals about what liberty are. And Americans want everybody to have the same liberty. So it's not like to force an ideology on anybody. It's just to show by example.
Right.
You know. And I know that other people just say, no, see, that's just phony because all you do is make war on other people. That's what they say.
Okay, this is good.
Yeah.
So one final question.
Yeah.
What is Tony's version of ideal education? What does it include? What are some of the major components of good education system?
Well, I mentioned some of this before, but it's history, economics, philosophy, and if you insist on training for specific jobs, okay, fine. We can throw that in there. But you need to learn the skills that are going to be lifelong skills. So what you want is not what guarantees you a job for the next 5 years after you graduate until the great new invention comes along and you're out of that job. That's gone. What you need is the skills that are lifelong. So this is knowledge of where you came from, your history, knowledge of how to deal with economic situations, so globalization right now is happening, and then philosophical perspectives that are lessons about life, about the meaning of life, trying to answer the big questions about God, morality, justice, knowledge. Classically, the good and the beautiful and the just.
So in my time, this is my last question, and it's a bit of an observation, maybe not a question. In my time here in the U.S., I've been reading about education and watching the news and see what people say. Some would say, even here in the U.S., that the last part you mentioned about philosophy of questioning big ideas, that's too troubling for possibly unsettling and maybe not even acceptable in certain views.
You're exactly right. I think there's a lot of people who don't want to be challenged by those questions.
But you think that they should be crucial parts of education?
Yeah, I do. I think that they should be part of the system. And I mean, we even saw a film not too long ago where a parent stood up and challenged the president of the university. This is on freshman orientation. What are you going to do to make sure my daughter gets a job when she gets out? And unfortunately, the president said, well, we'll do everything we can. Shouldn't have said that. Nothing. We're not a job placement service. We are a life placement service. This is how we would have liked to answer it. We're a life placement service. What we're going to guarantee is no matter what the situation is when she graduates, she'll be prepared for it. And she will have the competence, the knowledge, the wherewithal, the critical thinking, and the philosophic chops to handle anything. She'll run rings around everybody else because our curriculum is better than anybody else's. That's how you should answer that question.
I like that. That sort of gives me a very similar view I have on education.
Does it?
Having the skills and the abilities to be independent.
Right. Right.
Well, that was my last question. Thank you very much.
Okay.
This was a very good
okay. All right. Well, bye.
Bye.